Hey, it's Jerry Nunn with Windy City Times.
Hi, Jerry.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
It's so great to talk to you from the actual Windy City.
Yes, I'm so happy to get to talk to people in Chicago today.
Yeah. So, and you're from Cleveland, Ohio, is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah, I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay. Had you spent a lot of time in Chicago? What are your experiences been like?
Yeah, no, I have a lot of family living there right now. I'm raised Irish Catholic, so lots of family everywhere, but tons of cousins. My brother-in-law, two of my brother-in-laws, both live in Chicago. And so I've gone to Chicago many times as a kid. I had my college auditions at the Palmer House Hotel. It was my first trip on my own, flew by myself to Chicago and auditioned for acting schools there. And, I remember getting a tour of the city from my cousin Megan. And it was February, so it was a little cold, and we were outside the whole time. And, I've been to Boys Town many times. I've maybe sung a few karaoke songs around that neighborhood. And I love Chicago. And, I'm so glad to be a part of the show that's really a love letter to the entire city.
Yeah, they talk about Roscoe's.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can't have a show that takes place in Chicago with a gay character and not talk about Roscoe's.
Of course, of course. How did you get connected with the show? How did you get it in the first place?
I had an audition. I've auditioned for voiceover work for years, and I knew the casting director, Julie Ashton, and I'm so grateful to her because she had me come in for the audition to work with her. A lot of times you just do it over by yourself. You send in a recording, and I was able to come in and audition in person. And I also saw at the audition room that there were a bunch of other actors who all identify as gay. And so without really being told, I knew that they were trying to find a gay actor to play this role. And that just meant so much to me because I think it's important. I think it's important, to at least try to find gay actors to play gay roles. And I knew that was something that was important to them, and it's made it an even better experience.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite aunt that yourself? That,
Oh, I have many, many aunts, first of all. So I don't know if I could publicly declare one as a favorite.
okay.
I'd be in a lot of trouble. But, my mom was one of seven, and I have a bunch of aunts that are related to me, and then many that aren't. And I was raised by a pack of women who all took care of each other. And my mom was a single mom. So she had a lot of help. And they are hardworking women, worked 9 to 5 jobs and then knew how to party and relax on the weekends. So I spent a lot of time at Irish pubs listening to Irish music on Saturday afternoons.
Mhm. Did you record this at home or did you go in the studio with anyone?
I recorded this mostly at home. We did the first episode in a studio, and then the pandemic hit, and I've recorded all the episodes in this room. I'm in my garage, which is converted into part office space and then the laundry room. And the perfect spot, it turns out, is next to the washer and dryer. I just hung up a bunch of blankets from the ceiling to make it quiet and keep my 2.5-year-old out. So I would lock myself in here, and my husband would watch my son. And they sent me a microphone, and I've recorded every single episode just over the computer, talking to our director and other actors. So I had to kind of learn how to be a sound engineer, which is very difficult. And I have a new respect for everyone who understands how to work a soundboard.
Yeah. So you what was it like seeing yourself as a cartoon? How was that?
It was amazing. I love doing voiceover work because it's a collaboration unlike any other, where you're not just working with a director and a writer to bring a voice about. You are working with artists drawing and creating not just how the character looks, but how the character moves. And it's this symbiotic relationship where I would see some of what their work was, and then I could, put that into my work as a voice actor. And it just is so helpful to have so many people creating one character. You know, when you're on a stage, it's just you, and you're on your own. But to get to have so many amazing, talented artists help create Daniel was a dream.
Yeah, tell people about your character that haven't seen the show.
So Daniel is a very sweet, very bright, nervous, anxious 18-year-old gay boy. And he has always done the right thing. And his parents are pretty strict. They're rule followers and they want what's best for him. And he gets into Stanford, and he's about to go to Stanford when he realizes that he's worked his entire life doing what everybody else wants him to do. And he doesn't even know if that's what he wants, if he wants to go to Stanford or not. And luckily, he has an amazing aunt, Diane, the Chicago party aunt, and he decides to take a gap year before he goes to school to stay in Chicago and live with his aunt Diane and maybe learn some lessons that he would not learn from a professor at Stanford, like keg stands and and how to party. And it's amazing because he really does come out of his shell, and there's no better person to help him do that than his aunt Diane.
That care to kiss line is classic.
Oh, I know. Yeah. And that's, like I've played characters like Richie Cunningham in the past, like anytime they need a pasty white nerd, they call me. And so like, that's who Daniel is. And I'm so glad to portray a gay character who is a nerd, who isn't like great with a comeback, who isn't particularly snarky funny, like he's just a nerd, and he says really dorky things all the time, but he's so sweet, and he really does love his aunt and admires her for not caring what anybody else thinks. So he lets her push him to become bigger and to expand his horizons.
So can we get some scenes with your character and RuPaul like in the next season?
Yes. There's a Halloween episode where we kind of cross paths, but there's much more of Daniel and Gideon, the character that RuPaul plays in the future. Maybe because I demanded it, because if RuPaul's in a show, I need to be in every scene with RuPaul. I was mostly just trying to get RuPaul to give me Drag Race spoilers the whole time we were working on this, because I'd be like watching the show and be like, oh, I think it's going to be Crystal Method. I don't know, and then like trying to influence RuPaul's decision. Didn't really work out. But I mean, it's just an embarrassment of riches, this cast, and to get to work with all of them is amazing. But RuPaul, come on. I was gagged, as the kids say.
How different is this experience than Central Park for you?
Yeah, I mean, Central Park is such an awesome show. And because it's a musical, it is so often about learning the songs, because the songs are so much of the story. So when I go into a recording session, I'm thinking about, am I warmed up? Am I, can I hit these notes? And do I know the melodies? So there's a different kind of preparation. Whereas with Chicago Party Ant, I'm basically just playing and and having fun. And, our showrunner, Matt Craig, is extraordinary. He's such a great guy, loves Chicago so much. And our writers are amazing, starting with our creators, Chris Witowski, Katie Rich, and John Barinholtz. They are friends, like they love Chicago. They love each other. So going to a recording session with all of them is just like what you would imagine if you were hanging out with your buddies. It's just a little party. And they're so kind to me. And to have that kind of outlet creatively throughout the pandemic was a gift that I don't take it for granted at all.
With Hamilton, the fans are ravenous. Was there one crazy story that you had with a fan or anything like that?
Yes. Well, I replaced Jonathan Groff when he left the show, the original Broadway company, right? And one time I was signing autographs at the stage door and I hear, Jonathan Groff was better. Jonathan Groff was better. You suck. And I turn around and it was my husband heckling me. And all the girls at the stage door were like, oh no, like, who is this person? And of course it was my husband, because he thinks it's ridiculous that anybody wants my autograph and just wants to make fun of me. So yeah, that's probably the worst, my husband, if that counts.
That's a good one. That was, and you had me going too. So, is there one musical you want to do that you have not done yet? Is there something?
Oh God, anything Sondheim, anything. If they would let me be in Sweeney Todd, but you know, it's kind of one of those Care to Kiss situations. I don't know if they'll let Richie Cunningham be in Sweeney Todd, but maybe one day.
Exactly. What are you doing in the future? What do you have coming up?
You know, I'm doing more Central Park episodes, which is amazing that it keeps going. And I'm doing Hamilton right now. I have a show tonight. So we just opened a new company here in Los Angeles. We were about to open when the pandemic hit. And so we've been waiting for a year and a half, this cast here in Los Angeles. So we're so happy to be back open and having audiences coming in and enjoying the show. And yeah, just keeping busy doing that, and also being a dad to a 2.5-year-old.
Yeah, and the pandemic, you were locked down, and really, that's probably a wild time.
It was really crazy, but honestly, this show kept me sane because I had to take breaks from my work inside the house with the toddler, and I got to come in and laugh and, you know, be creative. And I'll just never forget that this show means so much to me, especially because of that.
That's so cool. Tell people about Broadway Impact.
Oh yeah. So Broadway Impact is an organization I started with my buddy, Broadway star Gavin Creel, and our very good friend, Jenny Canelos. We worked with Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS, and we made this organization that was organized around Broadway's movement to bring about marriage equality. This is before I was married. This is back in 2008, because it was right when Prop 8 was passed here in California. And it was really in response to that, Broadway started doing protests, and we wanted to organize the Broadway community and bring about change. And it grew into something bigger than I ever could have imagined. And we were able to do letter writing campaigns in every state. And then we produced a play that written by Dustin Lance Black called 8, about Proposition 8 in California. And that was produced in Chicago, was produced in every city and every state across the country, like 500 productions that became fundraisers for local organizations that were trying to bring about marriage equality. And I'm married. I mean, it wasn't all for me, but it was amazing to be a part of something that worked, you know. And it shows you what artists are capable of when they use their influence to bring about positive change, especially in the gay community, because the gay community, when it needs to take care of each other, it does the right thing and comes together. So I was so proud to be a part of that. Thanks for asking about it.
Awesome. Well, come visit us in Chicago. We want to see.
Oh, I will. I'll see you at Roscoe's.
Yeah, let's go out to Roscoe's. Let me know when you're in town.
You got it.
You know, we'll have a blast. So great to talk to you today, Rory. You're awesome.
Great talking to you too, Jerry. Thank you.
All right, take care.